Greetings! I am sitting in the house that we are staying in Marseille, France at the moment, and if you'd like to see what it looks like, I am in the sunroom at the moment, which is really awesome, in case you can't tell. You probably noticed that Anders isn't here. I did set up a chair for him, but he refused to be in this vlog. I think he's camera shy, so we will just get on to it. I have decided to do this blog post in the form of a video because I realized there were just too many topics for me to talk about. And if I were to try to write it all down, I think it would take me a year. So instead I'm just going to say them to you, face to face, sort of. So I made a list of the topics for the vlog. So I'm going to start off where I last left off. I got salmonella food poisoning, which was really unpleasant, and it lasted, well, the worst of it lasted for about I'd say like 2 days, and then by the third day I started to feel a little bit better, so I'd say it took about 3 days of recovery. And I was just staying in our grungy hotel room in Marrakesh, so it was okay. All I really needed was a bed, and of course there was a bidet in the corner, which helped for the vomiting and whatnot. So yeah, that wasn't fun, but the fact that we missed our flight was kind of a blessing in disguise. So we booked a 3-day tour with a little company in Marrakesh. I can't remember the name of the company. It was just a small tour company. I think they owned like 3 big bus vans. So the people we were with were all our age. There were about 20 of us, I think. And so we had one tour guide, and he just drove the big van, and we stopped along the way. So in total, I think to get to the Sahara, it was about 12 hours of driving, but it was broken up with, like, you know, bathroom stops, meals, look-offs. It was really funny. He kept saying, okay, now we stop to take a picture. And we'd all get out and take a picture of whatever the scenery was. So on the tour, first we went through the Atlas Mountains, which is basically a windy road that goes all the way through the Atlas Mountains, and you can go all the way up to the highest altitude and then back down, and we actually went through them, so we saw pretty much everything that there is to see. So that was really cool, and I was really happy that I had picked up some Dramamine before we left, so I was pleasantly drugged the whole time. I didn't feel carsick whatsoever, and yeah, that was good. So the next place we went was a place called Merzouga, and it was near the area where Gladiator was filmed, as well as Lawrence of Arabia. So we basically went on those sets and we saw like the places where they filmed, which was really cool. Anders stole a rock from the place that Gladiator was filmed, which is kind of awesome. I didn't think to do that, but I should have, because that's a really good idea. Next we went to a big canyon, and it was called the Three Dragons Canyon, so that was really awesome. Here is a short video of that. And finally we made it to the Sahara Desert. When we got there, we had, like I said, it was basically a 12-hour drive. It was broken up by restaurant stops, and also we spent a night in Merzouga. So we stayed in a hotel the first night. So then we drove again about 6 more hours, and then we finally got to the Sahara Desert. And when we got there, we were told to hurry up, pack a tiny little bag to take with us overnight, because we were hopping on camels right away. So we had no instruction whatsoever. They were like, all right, go pick a camel. So we all went and picked a camel. I think I was actually the second person to get on a camel. I was so excited. So yeah, you just kind of sat on it. There was this big saddle, and then the way that they stood up was horrifying. They tell you to lean back and hold on, because basically the camel is laying down with its like arms like that, and then its knees are bent too. So first it keeps its knees bent, and it kind of goes like that, and you're on the back, so you're there like, oh my god, and then it lifts its back legs up. If you can, YouTube a camel standing up, like somebody on it. You will see it was hilarious. So luckily I didn't fall off. One girl almost fell off, which was pretty funny. The camels were awesome. We rode them for about 45 minutes to our campsite. So there were these tents set up. They're called nomad tents, traditional nomad tents, and we had chicken tagine cooked by two of the locals who were staying with us overnight, and then we sat around the fire, and they had a bunch of drums, so we were all trying to drum along with the locals. And they were singing and stuff, and then we were dancing, and at this point Anders started to feel sick, so we realized that he might have come down with some of the issues that I was having. It was more like a stomach thing, so he was trying to sleep in the tent, but I was like having a great time dancing with all the locals and everybody, so that was really cool. I actually left out the part, about half an hour before that, we actually ran up a bunch of sand dunes under, like, it's completely pitch black by this time. There are stars everywhere, and we're with two of the locals, and our group of, like, our tour group or whatever is just running up these huge sand dunes. They were like mountains of sand, and by the time you get near the top, you can't run anymore because the angle is like this, so you're like crawling up it and you're just falling down the sand. It was so much fun. It was almost like a race. We were all racing up to the top. It was really cool. And then when we got to the top, we jumped down. So you start running as fast as you can and you're like jumping down the sand. It was awesome. It was so fun. So then we went back and then we played the drums and danced and all that. So the next morning we woke up at 5:45. We rode our camels back to where we were dropped off by our tour guide. And we had breakfast there, and then we got in the car for a 12-hour drive home. So yeah, that was 12 hours of driving. We stopped a couple times, got some food, bathroom breaks, whatnot. Oh, and the toilets everywhere were squat, I don't know, Anders calls them squat toilets. I'm not really sure, but basically it is a hole in the ground with two places for your feet and then a little tap of water. No toilet paper, no nothing. That's just, you do what you gotta do, which is kind of, it's unfortunate to have that kind of toilet when you're having stomach issues, let me tell you. But yeah, that was pretty cool. We drove 12 hours, got home around, well, got back to our hotel around 8:30 p.m. We went to sleep, and we woke up, and then the next day we flew out of Morocco, and we flew to Barcelona. And so we had a couple days in Barcelona. Barcelona is really awesome. I loved it. It was nice to be out of Morocco after having been there for 2.5 weeks, because the culture was really, I mean, it was a really awesome experience, but it was definitely intense, and it was just kind of nice to be in a more kind of westernized society after so long. So yeah, although in Morocco we were able to communicate a lot better because we could speak French, but as soon as we got back to Spain, we were just completely like unable to communicate with anyone, which was kind of hard. But yeah, Anders is pretty good at Spanish actually, so he was the one who did all the talking. So we met up with our old friend from Explore named Juan. We hung out with him. He came and stayed with us in this little apartment for, I think it was 3 nights, so that was fun. We went to the beach. At the beach there are these women walking around, these Asian women, and they come around and they say, massage? And they were basically selling 10-minute massages for €5. And so the first day we went to the beach, I was like, my instinct after having been in Morocco and everyone's trying to sell you things was just no thanks, no thanks. But I ended up watching one of the women give somebody else down the beach a massage, and it looked so awesome. So we left the beach. I completely regretted not getting one, and we went to the beach the next day again, and I got one, and it was awesome. So yeah, it's pretty hilarious. You just, they have a little sack, and then they just pull out this blanket, lay it down, you lay down, they pull up your shirt, they put all this, like, I don't know if it was Tiger Balm, she put something on my neck that felt really, like, weird, I don't know, but as soon as I smelled it, I was, like, conked out. It was really weird, very calming. Anyway, so yeah, that was fun. We attempted to go to the Sagrada Familia several times, but it turns out that the week that we were in Barcelona was, like, a huge religious week. It was right around Easter. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but there were a bunch of tourists there to see the Sagrada Familia around that time. So the first time we went there, the line was all the way around the church, and it's a big church, let me tell you. The second day we went there, it was the same thing. So I kind of gave up on that. I was kind of sad about it, but Anders really, really wanted to go, so I felt bad that we didn't end up going. But we had some fun times. We climbed up a mountain / hill, and we ended up going kind of off the beaten track, and we climbed up this huge wall almost, and then tried to hop the fence. Actually, we did hop the fence, and so we had no idea where we were. We were in this fenced compound kind of thing, and I was scared we were gonna like step on a grenade or something, and that wouldn't have been good. But it turns out we were actually trespassing in. It was like an area where they were trying to preserve the nature and the trees and stuff. So it was all fenced off. So we ended up next to the road inside this fenced off compound, and we realized the only way to get out was to hop an even bigger fence. So Anders did it first, and then I did it, and it was really scary, but we made it out alive. We also went to Parc Güell, which is a park designed by Gaudi. It was really, really cool. The way to get to it is a really, really steep hill, and they've actually put in escalators on the street for people trying to get up the hill because it's such a steep, steep hill. After that, we took a train, and after about 2 hours, from having left Spain, we were suddenly in France, which was really funny because I had no comprehension of how close the countries really were. So we got off the train, and these people were going into this train station. We had one stop to make before we could switch to our other train. So I'm assuming we're still in Spain, and we get into this train station, and the guy is asking for something, so I assume he wants to see my ticket, and he's like, no, your passport. So I was like, what? Oh, we're in France. So I gave him my passport, and it turned out that's how close we were to France. So we took another train, a couple hours, and now we are in Marseille, which is a small town. It's like it's on the coast, so it's a big fishing town, and it's been really awesome. When we first got here, we had to walk about 6 kilometers from the train station with our huge bags on our backs, and so as we're walking, we're both really tired, and we just look over in the water and we see these big storks, or what we thought were storks. So I look at those and I'm like, Anders, check out those storks. He's like, wow, that's awesome. And as we looked a little bit closer, we realized that they weren't storks because they were pink. And the only bird that looks like a stork and is pink is a flamingo. So we were standing there like, those cannot be flamingos. We're in France. When you think of France, you don't think of flamingos, but we Googled it, and it turns out from February to March, Marseille is home to flamingos. So that's pretty cool. We saw them only that day. That's the only day we saw them. And I think they must have migrated or something, but yeah, it was pretty cool. So, another thing, everybody has baguettes here. All the time, every day, all the time, everybody is carrying a baguette, because the way it works here is that you basically get your groceries every day. So there are small little local shops, there are greengrocers, there are butcher shops, there are bakeries, and so basically every day you go and you get your groceries for the day. So people are always buying baguettes every day, so everywhere you look there are people with baguettes. There are baguettes sitting in cars, there are baguettes on the ground. It's really hilarious. We have been going to the beach. The beach is really, really awesome. It's about a 6 kilometer bike ride away, so, oh, and we have bikes here, which is really cool too. There's a weekly market every Tuesday, which is really awesome. We went and we discovered that there are a lot of people selling fake things. So for example, there's a knife brand here, a French knife brand, and there was a guy selling a bunch of them. And Anders really wanted to get one, and he couldn't believe how cheap they were because he knows that they're usually a lot more expensive, and it didn't really, neither of us clued in that it could be fake. We just assumed because it was a weekly local market that it was legitimate things. But anyway, he bought one, and we got home, and he looked inside, and it said made in Pakistan. So we ended up taking it back, and the guy actually gave him his money back, which was pretty cool. And the last thing I wanted to say was that it has been awesome to be able to cook our own food after so long. We've almost been gone for 2 months now. I think it's been about 50 days. And we have been eating out non-stop. So that sounds kind of nice, but it's really not. When you just want to like be able to make your own food, when you feel like making something, you don't want to have to try to find it in a restaurant. You just want to be able to make it. So it's been awesome. We've been making lots of delicious things. And yeah, that's about it. I think I covered everything, hopefully. I'll post some pictures that we've taken, and hopefully this video isn't too long and it lets me upload it. And yeah, alright. So, hope that was interesting and informative, and let me know if you like these vlog style blog posts, because I might do more of them. Okay, have a good day. Bye.